What is up, Knicks fans? Hope you are doing well. Congrats on the big Game 1 victory in Boston, the come-from-behind victory, down 20 points in the third quarter and pulling it out in overtime. I know Mikal Bridges gets a lot of love. Jalen Brunson deserves a lot of love. OG Anunoby deserves a lot of love. Even Deuce McBride got into double digits. But I'm here to break down the impact of one Josh Hart. And we're going to start before the 20-point lead was created and then the comeback. We're going to start on the offensive end here as we see something Josh Hart does incredibly well. Gets involved in the offensive rebounding, just stays around. He's always around the ball, and then he's immediately looking to kick it out. He finds Bridges. Bridges really good with the relocation. He doesn't even make that shot, but I still wanted to show the impact that Hart makes. Again, even before we get to the real, no pun intended, heart of this game in the third quarter. Here on the defensive end now. And he has some limitations. I will admit that. I will show those. But a great rotation and verticality contest on Derek White, making him make the pass. And that allows Brunson and OG to get involved, get their hands on it. And that's the thing with Josh Hart. There's no box score stat that shows up there. There are going to be so many clips in this breakdown where there is no box score stat for him, but he's the one making the play. 7:50 third quarter. Again, Boston hasn't extended the lead yet. I will show this action a little bit later because I think it's important for the Knicks moving forward. He's engaged off the ball, comes in, gets a deflection, forces the turnover. Again, no steal for Josh Hart. I assume this goes for Mikal Bridges, but he is the one that forced it. All right, let's get into this now. 20-point lead. Knicks have taken a timeout. Who makes the momentum-changing bucket? Josh Hart for all of the floor spacing questions. And it is real, right? It does condense the floor. It does allow defenders to help off. But I feel like so far in these playoffs, he has made shots when the Knicks really needed him to in huge moments. And right there, he knocks one down. I also just want to show his overall effort. At times, off the ball, he does get a little bit too far away. This one, he was tagging on Cornette on the roll, but the great effort to close out. Would like it to be a little bit more under control with the flyby closeout so he can at least recontest again. But let me ask you this. How many NBA players just stand over here out of bounds and watch the action go? Not Josh Hart. He comes in, he gets back involved, and if he doesn't get involved back in the lane, I think the Celtics at least have a 50-50 chance, if not better, of coming up with an offensive rebound and a second chance opportunity. And then who knows what happens to the run. Here's another one where, again, I think he overhelps just a little bit on strong side corner against a good floor spacer, even though Hauser struggled in this game and on this particular shot. But part of that is great effort to recover. He just doesn't give up on plays as he gets there with the contest, forces a really bad miss. And then we know Josh Hart is really good in transition. So now they've cut it to 15, little over 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and he just attacks the Celtics in transition, able to navigate the defenders and gets a layup. Now down to 13 with a little under 2 minutes. Again, getting involved in the rebounding situation on both ends of the court. Comes down with this defensive board, but it's not as simple as that. Watch what he does. As he's coming down with the board, he immediately gets his eyes up to see what is going on. So it takes one dribble, and then he finds OG sneaking out ahead and gets the transition bucket. So it's not as simple as just, oh, he's a really good rebounder. What is he doing out of it? And on the defensive end, he is able to lead transition. And on the offensive end, he's immediately playing to find a shooter, a cutter, whatever it is. Now, again, I mentioned some of the limitations, especially at the point of attack, but he also had some really good possessions as well. So here against Peyton Pritchard, stays in phase even as he gets beat a little bit. Some nice help from Mikal Bridges. I'll highlight his defense a little bit more as well. Cuts Pritchard off, and then the active hands. And then also this just like not just going to settle for a jump ball. He's going to rip it out of Pritchard's hands. And then now they can go in transition. And even though they didn't have numbers in this situation, Celtics defense is a little more unsettled. And Brunson got the pull-up three-point make in that situation. Again, here, like maybe he's just right place, right time. But it sure seems to happen often for Josh Hart. 34 seconds. Knicks have it down to 8 now. Catches, and again, he is immediately looking to the perimeter. Who can I pass the ball to? Who has an open catch and shoot opportunity? Gets it out quickly and aggressively. OG shot fake, gets fouled, gets to the free throw line. If Josh Hart just holds on to this ball for even 1 second, the Celtics defenders are able to resettle, they're able to rotate, and OG doesn't have the advantage that he gets for the shot fake, one dribble, and then again getting fouled. How about in transition? Again, a thing that doesn't show up in the box score. Immediately communicating with his teammates. Where are the matchups? Letting Mikal know you got Drew. And then some little thing right here. Derek White does all the little things for the Celtics. He's going to cut in here and collapse the defense, whether it's for a bucket or something. But on the cut, Hart recognizes it. He meets him there and he takes it away. It's those little things throughout a game that you don't see in the box score. Again, some limitations defensively, but he never gives up on the play. Gets beat off the bounce, but he knows that an offensive player is going to expose the ball and give you a chance to recover. Gets his left hand involved right here, tips that away, forces a turnover. Again, he probably doesn't get the steal. So this is where I don't even think the box score numbers ever show what he's really contributing throughout a game. And this play really highlights that. At least on synergy, they give Karl-Anthony Towns the offensive rebound and the putback here. But who creates the second chance opportunity? Knicks down 6 now as they've continued to chip away. Josh Hart on the weak side, getting his left hand involved, tipping it away from Jaylen Brown, right to Karl-Anthony Towns for the easy bucket. It's play after play after play. Even little ones like this. He pushes Drew Holiday under the basket, anticipating the shot. It bounces long, and because Holiday's not in great position, it goes out of bounds off of him, gets the Knicks another opportunity. It's those things that always stand out to me with Josh Hart. Here's another one where maybe he's a little too far away initially, but he always gives the next effort to contest the shot from Derek White. And then watch this. They are in the exact same spot right now, right? Derek White is on the outside. Josh Hart is going to sprint the floor in transition, create the advantage, get himself to the free throw line. I believe he knocked down 1 out of 2 right there. So he's going to outwork you. He's going to put so much pressure on you as a defense, even as an offense, to continuously make the right play. Here's another off-ball defensive play where he can test the shot from Tatum at the rim, helping force a miss in that situation. Just big-time stuff over and over and over. And then another offensive rebound, comes down with it. And these are the ones like everybody's going to remember this shot from Jalen Brunson to eventually tie the game. But he misses the floater initially. Hart gets position early. So good anticipating things. Comes down with it. And then again, he doesn't get the assist here, but he is the one that created the second chance opportunity. OG with the nice drive, Bridges with a really nice play on the catch, Brunson with a great relocation, and knocks down the shot to tie it up. And then I wanted to highlight this play because I think this one can really go underappreciated. So OG misses this shot. We again see Hart doing what he does best, pushing Derek White on the weak side under the basket. And so now White doesn't come down with a clean rebound. Why is that important? Well, Boston's about to go to the offensive end, and who is on the floor for the Knicks? Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. My guess is Boston does not call a timeout here if they come down with a clean rebound. But because Hart pushes White under the basket, because Bridges helps contest, and White goes to the ground and has to call the timeout, now Boston calls a timeout. And what does that allow the Knicks to do on the defensive end? On that next possession, on that ensuing possession, they don't have Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson on the court. They've subbed in a more defensive lineup, and they got to stop. And so it's little nuanced things like that that can really go underappreciated, but make a huge impact in the game overall. And then this is great from Mikal Bridges. I want to give him some love here. Jaylen Brown's attacking. Bridges tries to dig in, continues to play, gets the steal, and the save. Great job from him. And then Hart pushes in transition, and then he's just so good. He's not necessarily looking off Tatum here, but you can see he's looking at Tatum. And he's going to throw this ball before OG actually gets by Jason Tatum. He's already made up his mind, but Hart is just keyed in, watching Tatum. Is he locked in? Is he not? He saw that Tatum was not really focused there and that OG was going to be able to run by him, and he puts the pass perfectly on time, on target in a huge moment. Knicks up 3 now in overtime. Hart again with a block shot after a Derek White offensive rebound. And then this one is really fun here. So him being a good screener is important in this series. Gets just enough of Drew Holiday to create the downhill drive from Brunson. But watch this. Brunson's going to miss. Who should get the rebound right now? To me, it's the Boston Celtics. Al Horford specifically. Watch what Hart does, and you can call a foul if you want, but they don't call it. He moves Horford out of the way. Watch where this ball is going to bounce. Right here, Hart gets into Horford, pushes him out of the way, and now Karl-Anthony Towns has a less contested offensive rebound putback opportunity. Think about the number of offensive rebounds I have shown in this breakdown that didn't even show up in the box score. So his rebounding numbers are even more impactful than what that shows as he's moving guys out of position, creating team offensive rebounds, whatever it is, his impact goes beyond just the box score numbers. And then one final one here. Again, look at the communication, telling OG, okay, you have the help right here. This is so important to know. He lets OG know. OG helps. Hart with the nice closeout forces Jaylen Brown to make the pass. OG rotates. The flyby closeout, making Horford put it on the deck for at least one. They don't get the box out on the weak side, but it's just really good stuff on the defensive end. And I just wanted to highlight all of that because I always come away so impressed with Josh Hart's overall impact, stopping momentum, keeping momentum, the boards, all of the things, even when the box score looks good, the things that go beyond the box score. And then I wanted to end with a couple things, offensively and defensively. One, on the offensive end, when Cat gets this in the post and draws 2, Hart is going to cut. I think the Knicks missed a couple opportunities on the weak side to create open catch and shoot opportunities for Bridges or Anunoby. If Bridges just stays, I think this is going to come out to OG right there, or they can get some sort of 2-on-1 on the weak side. I didn't love Hart cutting and Bridges cutting, even though it does look like there's an opening there. There was one in the first half as well. So I think this is something the Knicks can look at. They're putting 2 on Cat, have Hart cut and occupy someone in the lane, and get that 2-on-1 on the weak side for Mikal and OG. And then this is something that we saw a lot of in the Pistons series, but this wasn't something the Pistons did. Holiday set the screen and rolled out of it quite a few times in this game. That is something to watch for with the Knicks defense. We saw it earlier where it was somebody else on Holiday and Hart helped off and stole the pass. There, the help defense wasn't there. And then because Brunson wants to be there early to hard hedge, Holiday slips out of this one even though he doesn't get the touch. So that's a couple little things on both ends of the floor. How can the Knicks make the Celtics pay if they put 2 on Cat in the post? And then how can the Knicks adjust their defense that if Drew Holiday is going to come in and pick and roll or slip, how do they help off of? How do they make sure he's not getting 3 or 4 easy looks around the rim in that action?